welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily if you are new here, and I love matcha. I love it so much, and I'm really passionate about drinking good matcha. So on this channel, I like to review a lot of different matcha brands, and today we have the newest matcha brand out there is Frauth Matcha. And a lot of you guys have been asking how I like this blend and how I like this brand, so I'm gonna tell you. Is her Yama matcha blend. I think this is the hyper premium one. So on the website, this is their Yama matcha. It goes for $45. It's a hyper premium, super rare Okumidori matcha. This is first harvest and also single cultivar organic matcha. So as far as the color goes, it isn't as vibrant green as I was expecting just from a hyper premium matcha. There is like a slight yellowish tinge to it. I really like the aroma of this. It has a nice like nutty scent to it. And if you know me, like I love roasted like notes, especially like in hojicha, like I love that roasted flavor. So when I find matchas that kind of smell a little bit nuttier or even taste a little bit nuttier, I tend to like those a lot. Let's try it out. Let's add some water to it and whisk it. After whisking it and adding the hot water, the aroma kind of changed where it smells a little bit more like savory. Like I think the savory notes are coming out a little bit more like of that roasted aroma that I originally smelled when I first opened the package. Like now the savoriness of that has intensified. So we have the cute branded froth glass that we're gonna assemble the matcha in. Ice. Okay, I'm gonna try this with just the matcha first. Yeah, it is more of like a roasted profile, definitely more savory. Like the taste is almost like a little bit smoky, and there is like a bit of dryness like on my tongue after sipping it. I don't really taste any sweetness. There is like a slight astringency when I first initially drank it. Like when it first like hits your tongue and you taste it, there is like kind of that like bite to it where it has a little bit of like an astringent bitter taste, but then it slowly fades away right after and it turns into like this nutty aftertaste. So let's try it with milk. Ooh, that looks yummy. Look at how cute this hat is. She makes the cutest like matcha merch. Like, isn't this hat so cute? I should have been wearing this the whole time. But anyways, this is a super cute matcha hat that she created as well. So now that we have the final product, this is the way that I normally drink my matcha lattes, so I'm going based off of this. I think I like it better for sure with milk. I think by itself, it's not bad, but it is really strong. So if you don't enjoy like really pungent flavors, I think it would be hard to like drink alone. But because I think this one is definitely more of an advanced matcha. She also has another one called Shima, which is like the, not lower grade, but I think less of like an intense matcha, maybe more for like beginners. It's called Shima. So this one is the highest, the hyper premium. So it's definitely gonna be a lot more bold in the matcha flavors. So I don't think I would recommend this if you're like starting out in matcha, but if you are more advanced and you are looking for a deeper, like richer flavor, I would suggest this Yama one. If you love the roasted nuttiness profile in matchas, you're gonna enjoy this one, because this one, the nuttiness stays, like it sticks with this matcha when it's mixed with milk, but I feel like paired with the milk, it almost kind of brings it down a notch where it's not like in your face, like too much nuttiness, too much like savory. sweetness. So my final thoughts on Froth's Yama matcha. I'm gonna be grading them in 5 different categories. So I'm gonna grade them in richness, color, bitterness, umami, and sweetness. These are the ones that I typically like to look for in my matchas. And when I'm tasting them, I want to give you guys a more like visible way to see like how I'm tasting it and like a scalable level. So when you are considering buying these different matchas, you can, you know, base it off of like whether or not you want stronger richness, you want sweetness, and so on. Also, just to clarify, the lower the number, it does not mean it's bad. Like, I'm not saying this is a bad matcha in this area. It's just a matcha that lacks this. So the higher the number means it's stronger. The lower the number just means it's less. Starting off with the color. I gave the color a 3 out of 5 just because I think it wasn't as vibrant as I was expecting, or even like a deep green, considering it is a hyper premium matcha. I was just expecting it to be a little bit like a richer matcha color and a little bit more vibrant. But it was a little bit like yellowish, not as vibrant, a little bit more of a dull green. So that's why I give it a 3 out of 5. Richness, I gave it a 3 out of 5 as well. And this one isn't a super like heavy or creamy matcha. I think it's a little bit lighter. It's more of like a refreshing matcha. So it's not as rich and deep of like the matcha flavor, or like even with like the creaminess, it's a little bit lighter. So more on the refreshing side of matcha. Bitterness, I give it a 2 out of 5. And this one wasn't a really bitter matcha at all. There is like a little bit of astringency and bitterness in it, but it isn't overpowering, and it isn't to the point where it's not enjoyable. So I think actually the bitterness helps in this case, because this is a more savory matcha. So I think the bitterness is nice to have. Next one is umami. I gave this a 3 out of 5. This is a more savory matcha. There is more of that umami profile, kind of like I was explaining with the peanut taste and the roasted like flavor. It wasn't as sweet. It was more of like an umami forward matcha. Last, for sweetness, I gave this a 1 out of 5. Again, it doesn't mean that it's bad. I just think this one isn't a sweet matcha, but it is more on the savory side. Like I was explaining, like this one is definitely more nutty. It's not as profoundly like sweet. Like I wouldn't describe this as a sweet or creamy matcha. It's more savory and light. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you want me to review next. Cheers! Bye!